Hi, and welcome to Run Tall with Tim, the YouTube channel that's dedicated to all runners everywhere. I'm Tim, and I upload new running videos every single week. If you're new to the channel, I get new videos out on both Wednesday and Saturday mornings, and that's at 5 a.m. Standard Eastern Time here in the U.S. If you want to save yourself a little time, I tried to make that easy for you. All you have to do is open the description, and there you're going to see where I've created chapters. Simply click on the timestamp for the part of the video that you want to watch, and it's going to take you right there. Today, I'm going to share with you a brand new shoe from New Balance. It's their Fresh Foam 1080 V11. Now, this is a neutral road shoe that features their Fresh Foam X midsole material. Before I get into it too far, though, let me demonstrate what it looks like to run in these shoes. Then when we come back together, we're going to take an in-depth look at the New Balance Fresh Foam 1080 V11. So I went just a little over 7 miles at about an 8:31 minute mile pace. So a very comfortable, easygoing workout today. Let's just start by talking about the cost of the shoes. Now they run $150 US. And for a maximum cushion daily trainer, and that's really the category that this shoe falls into, that's pretty much on par with what other shoe companies are getting for shoes of similar quality and purpose as these are. The weight of the shoes for a men's size 9, their stated weight on their website is 9.3 ounces, and that's exactly what they came in on my scale, so we are 100% agreement there, or 264 grams. Now we'll zoom in and we'll take a look at the upper, see what we're getting for that 9.3 ounces of weight. And this is a knit upper. It has lots of perforations up in the toe box. I felt like there was plenty of airflow. Now today's workout, it was about 19 degrees, so the shoes were cool underfoot. I'll be curious to know as I get more miles in these shoes and the weather warms up here and the next several weeks or so, if I still have that same cool airflow that I had today. But more testing to come to try to make that determination. But now as we work our way around to the midfoot of the shoe, you can see that material gets a bit thicker and it loses the stretch. Now up in that toe box, that material is pretty stretchy. So you can see here as I pull on it, just how much stretch there is. But it gives you a really nice, comfortable feeling. And there's plenty of room up in that toe box for my toes to splay. I didn't have any issues feeling crowded that way at all. And that was really nice and comfortable when I was out running. This is the kind of shoe that I think you can pack a lot of miles on pretty comfortably. So as we continue to pan around to the midfoot section of the upper, that material loses its stretch. And you also see right there in that midfoot where they've got their New Balance logo as a plastic overlay as well. But because it loses that stretchiness to the upper material, that really gives you the opportunity when you cinch up your laces to get a nice secure lockdown feeling in the shoe. And I felt like that was really comfortable. Also, as we move our way around now to the heel counter of the shoe, they've got kind of a rubberized material back on that area. So let's just talk about now the eyelet chain. This is a little bit different. I wouldn't say that it's a traditional eyelet chain, but now this has a bootie-like construction for the upper, so it doesn't have a tongue really. And as a result, when you start out at the beginning of the eyelet chain, you're kind of going up the eyelet chain before you cross over it, which is a little bit different. But I still felt like I got cinched in pretty well. I had just a slight amount of puckering down there at the start of the eyelet chain, but nothing that concerned me at all or affected how comfortable the upper is when I slid my foot in. It is a very comfortable shoe on foot. So kudos to New Balance for that. And then as we work our way up that eyelet chain, they've got a plastic overlay on the outside to give it some extra durability. And they also have some extra material on the inside cage as well. Again, adding some durability to the shoe, as well as having that additional eyelet for a runner's knot. If you like to run with that, you won't have any issues using a runner's knot with this upper. They give you that opportunity to do that. So let's turn our attention to the tongue of the shoe. As I mentioned, this upper has a bootie-like construction, so the tongue has a full gusset with really just the very top portion of it not being sewed in. It's got lots of padding throughout the tongue. It laid flat on my foot, it was comfortable, and I didn't have any hot spots. So let's move our way around toward the heel collar and the tab, and we'll take a real close look here because unlike other daily trainers that have pillow style of padding around those areas, they really don't have that here. It is a thicker, softer material. I found it to be really comfortable on foot. I felt locked in and secure back in that heel cup, but it's I would say a non-traditional padding system because you can't really see the padding like you can in other daily trainers, like I said, that have more of a pillow style padding around the collar and the tab. You're not going to get that with this shoe, but it doesn't mean that it isn't comfortable. Let's take a look at the closer look at the tab, and you can see that they have a nice Achilles heel flare there. I found that to be really comfortable, and I really appreciated it. I did not run in a 1080 V10 shoe, so I skipped that one, but I do have the 1080 V9s, and that was one of the complaints that I had about that shoe is that way that heel collar was formed. It kind of felt at times like it was digging into my Achilles a little bit. I didn't have that issue at all with this shoe. In fact, I felt like I had lots of room up around that Achilles heel area. It felt nice and comfortable. Now looking at the heel counter, I'm going to give it the pinch test here. And you can see that they have some structure, but unlike other daily trainers that I run in, the structural material here, it doesn't seem to go all the way to the top, but rather it only goes about halfway up that heel. But still, that creates a nice pocket for you to set in. And I felt locked in and secure. I didn't have any issues with my heel slipping, either side to side, up or up or down. It was really comfortable. Now, before we move on to the midsole, I just want to point out that New Balance did include a removable sock liner or insole. I always appreciate that. And in this case, I think they kind of went the extra mile here because they included an ortholite insole that adds some comfort to the shoe. And you can see that it's a pretty thick insole. And I really appreciate that. I mentioned that a lot in my shoe reviews, that how much I appreciate being able to remove an insole or sock liner just so that you can wash them, let them dry, and then put them back in so you're good to go the next day. So New Balance, I appreciate that. You did not disappoint. Let's turn now and we'll take a look at the midsole of the shoe. And that's what I often call the engine of the shoe. And they have their Fresh Foam X midsole material here. Now they have a 30 millimeter stack height in the heel and a 22 millimeter stack height in the forefoot for an 8 millimeter offset from the heel to the toe. And it feels terrific. This is a maximum cushioned shoe. And, again, I did not run it in the V10, so I can't compare it to that shoe, but I can compare it to the V9, and it is considerably softer underfoot than that shoe was. When I first took off and started to run, I felt like I was sinking just a little bit into that foam. It was a really comfortable feeling, not like it was mush where I was getting stuck in it, but I would sink into the foam, and then I had a pretty good amount of spring or bounce back. And that made it easy for me to get into a nice rhythm in my gait cycle. So you can get into a nice easygoing pace and maintain that pace pretty easily with this midsole material. I really appreciated that. I'm a big fan of this Fresh Foam X midsole material now. And if we take a close look at the lateral side of the shoe, they have some laser engravings around here that give it make it a little softer underfoot for your landing. And I appreciate that because you probably noticed in a lot of my run sequences where I do when I come down for my foot strike, I typically, I strive to be a mid to forefoot foot striker, and I come down on that lateral side of my foot. So having those laser engravings and making that a little bit softer of a landing on that side, I really appreciate that. The comfort of this shoe for that midsole, I think, is spot on for me. I really enjoyed it. And for a long distance daily trainer like this, I think they did a terrific job. I really appreciate that. So let's flip these shoes over and we'll take a look at that outsole. See how they're protecting all that Fresh Foam X midsole material. And you can see that it's pretty much covered from the heel to the toe with blown rubber. They have just a little bit of that Fresh Foam X midsole material that's left exposed in the midfoot section of the shoe. But that's a very small amount. The rest of the shoe is covered with rubber, so it adds a lot of durability. But they also added flex grooves, and you can see that they start even in the heel. They have a flex groove, and then they have flex grooves from the forefoot or the midfoot all the way through the forefoot. That adds or gives you the ability to have a nice, smooth, natural gait cycle. I did appreciate that. It did feel smooth as I was running all the way from my foot strike through to my toe off. Hey, I want to thank you guys for making it to the end of the video. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.